What you see from the outside, from the industry, is you see these powerhouse women like Beyonce's and everything that she embodies is very self-empowerment.
Men have been given the chance to rule the world. But ladies, our revolution has begun.
When you get past all that and you go behind the scenes, you see just like a big, huge crew of men.
On stage in music, women are often front and centre, but off stage it's a world dominated by men. In fact, of the world's biggest hits over the last 5 years, only 12% had female songwriters. Just 2% had women producers. Now, the music industry is on the verge of having its own Me Too moment.
People that I knew personally, they'd been assaulted or abused or manipulated or taken advantage of, and now all of a sudden people are actually calling men out when they've done this awful, gross, cringe shit. Rape, sexual abuse. Why is it a part of the job description to take this shit?
I lose everything so I can sing hallelujah, I'm free.
23-year-old Georgia Knott is one half of Broods, the hugely successful sibling duo that's won Album of the Year, Best Group and toured with huge names. But her new mission is to stamp out abuse in the music business and create more jobs for women behind the scenes. She calls it the Venus Project.
Cool.
Georgia, this is where you're plotting to take over the world.
Yes, yeah.
Army of women.
Army of feminists.
Based here in LA, the Venus Project is a series of albums written, recorded, engineered, produced and promoted entirely by young women. And Volume 1 is already getting loads of love.
Every time it was hard to find somebody to mix the album, to make a video with an all-female crew and cast. It was just more incentive to make it happen because I have seen so many women that can do such amazing things that don't get the credit that they deserve.
I don't wanna feel no.
We want women to be represented all through the industry rather than just on stage dancing and singing, and people kind of assuming that they don't write their own music, they're just a product. And I think a lot of women feel like they're not seen as the geniuses that they are. That is the attitude a lot of the time. It's just like, leave it up to the men. And so I wanted to make a whole record that embodied what I thought as a feminist, and that was inclusion, and that was representation, and it was not apologising anymore.
I'm pretty sure once people hear the album, they will also agree that you're a bit of a genius.
I hope so.
I am here to give you permission to be angry.
This reality might not have to be our reality anymore.
Georgia, how did you feel when the Me Too movement story started kind of breaking around the world?
I think that is the most intense part of this whole movement. The most heartbreaking part is these stories of women feeling like they don't have a choice.
I thought no meant no. This is an international rapist.
There are those who still have to be held accountable for their conduct against women.
After so many Me Too stories out of the film and television industry, it's become clear that the music business is next. In Sweden, more than 2,000 female artists like Robyn and Zara Larsson have come forward with stories of abuse. And now the hashtag #MeNoMore campaign in Australia is exposing sexual harassment too.
Working backstage for a huge international act, their tour manager looked me in the eyes as he told the room there were only two types of women, bitches and sluts.
I've had managers of bands place their hands on my body.
My head has been pushed towards a colleague's crotch and held there despite me saying no.
A lot of people who had no idea what was going on are like, how come all of a sudden men are abusive? This is what it's been like for ages. And I mean, like, my two younger sisters are amazing musicians, and I don't want them to come up and think that they can't hold their own.
On the Venus Project album, it's clear that you reference the difficulty in, I guess, exposing our flaws as people.
Yeah.
What are Georgia's flaws?
Oh, so many. Like, struggles with anxiety, and it's so hard to talk about, you know. I mean, why is something that's such a universal feeling something that everybody thinks they're going through alone? In New Zealand and Australia, this whole idea of mental health being a weakness is an idea that has to be banished. It leads to premature death, it leads to suicide. Looking back and like, these times when I like would fall apart and I'm like, now I know what that was. It was a panic attack. Oh.
So how do you deal with that when it just gets too hard?
I guess because when I first came into the industry, I had such a concentrated period of growth and such a concentrated period of exposure to new things that like turned me into a very like hyper anxious person. And so in order for me to like carry on functioning as a human being, I had to like develop tools and habits that would not take it away, because I know that I will never be without anxiety, but to live with it and manage it and get what I need out of it rather than let it break me. One thing I've learned doing this project is that to be able to self-empower, to be able to empower others around you, if you talk to other people about it, the problem becomes so much smaller, the solution becomes way clearer. When you realise that we're all thinking the same thing, we're all struggling with similar issues on a broad spectrum, it kind of gives you a little bit more strength to be able to say no to putting up with it. That's one thing that I already see happening, is these amazing collaborations and these amazing women that are like, hey, I feel like this, do you feel like this? Let's do something about it, let's celebrate one another, and let's, you know, not take these excuses of this is just the way it's always been anymore.
Georgia, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and I'm very excited to see you shake shit up in an industry that clearly needs it. Yeah,
I mean, I'm trying, but yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of awesome changes.
Thanks so much for your time. Mwah.